Hey everyone, so this is Dr. Viola Pierce. I am the owner and CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, where our goal is to teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. So I wanted to come and talk to you today about capping travel nurse pay because that should be a concern for everyone. Yes, you too. I don't care who you are. Because most of the time, unless you're just a guy who never enters the healthcare system, this is going to affect you. So stay tuned for our talk. Hey, so I wanted to jump on real quick this morning, and this is very impromptu. This is not something that I actually planned, but I think it's something that vexes, I know that it's something that vexes my heart when it comes to capping travel nurse pay. Um, and the reason why it vexes my spirit is because I want you to kind of think about where we are in healthcare today, right? So I just want to put some context to it. So just to let you know, there's never ever been a conversation ever, and this is not a physician against nurse thing, but there's never been a conversation. There's never been this thing that we've ever heard where physicians are their pay is being capped. I mean, there's never been a conversation at all, at all. And this is not a physician against nurse thing. Again, this is what I'm saying. I'm just telling you that right now is a very pivotal time in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for 30 years, this May or March, or I can't remember which one it is. But I've been in healthcare for a very, very long time. And the way that healthcare is being spent right now is very different. And so, just to let you know what is going on in Congress, what they're considering, this is a bipartisan thing. So, what the deal is that everybody in Congress is supporting it. So, I invite you to write your congressman and talk to them about what your thoughts are on this. So, basically, nurses pay travel nurse pay is being capped. As we know that whenever you travel as a nurse, you get paid a lot more money to travel than you do at your regular, job, right? Now, there's many arguments about whether travel nurses should receive more money, and there's many arguments about whether, the nurses who have been there a long time should receive more money. I support both of them, honestly. I'm not leaning any way, one way or the other. But I do have to say that whenever it relates to healthcare, the problem is that the people in healthcare, they've kind of built the dam, right? Now, again, I've been a nurse for 30 years. So when I say that they have built the dam, they built up this wall where nurses have struggled for years, right? There's never, when you talk about safe staff to patient ratios, then that's not something that they've even considered unless it's in certain states. Now, certain states have considered that, like California has a certain patient to nurse ratio that you cannot exceed, right? But like in North Carolina, for example, there has never ever been a consideration about that. Another thing to consider is the APRNs. Now, for those of you who don't know, APRNs are advanced practice registered nurses. So these are your nurse practitioners. These are your people who are, your doctorate of nursing practice, similar to myself. Now, I have mine in leadership, not in practice, but they're very similar to myself. They, in certain states, they're not able to practice on their own. So whenever you go to their offices, so when you go to a nurse practitioner's office, what happens is you're not only incurring the fee that that nurse practitioner would normally charge you, you are also being charged the fee of that supervising physician that is over them. Now, evidence-based practice has said time and time and time and time again that an advanced practice nurse had their care is safer than a physician's. Time and time and time again. So why is it that in certain states the advanced practice nurses are not given the ability to act freely on their own and to actually deliver the care to their patients that they know to deliver to their patients? Because honestly, Most advanced practice nurses have typically been a nurse for a long time, and they are able to deliver this care to their patients. They're able to deliver the care and deliver it safely and effectively. So why do they need a supervising physician? I was talking to one guy who had a med spa here in North Carolina. And what he said was the physician that he had as his supervising physician never stepped foot in his organization. Never stepped foot. Now, of course, his name is on the line, but he never stepped foot and he never incurred any liability because they never had any lawsuits. But at the end of the day, why is it that why are we in this position even at all? Every state in the US should have safe practice, should have their advanced practice nurses. They should have them where they are able to practice on their own. Now, the reason why it should be of concern to you is because whenever you go into the hospital and you don't have safe nurse staff ratios, then it you have the nurse has less the ability to be able to take care of the patients that they're taking care of. So let's just be very honest. If you're taking care of, so we, in a lot of ERs, they do what's called the emergency, and I'm just talking about the ER because that's what I know. That's my wheelhouse. Is other, floors that don't have safe patient staff ratios as well. But the ER is where what I know for real. So the deal is that whenever you go into an emergency department, you have, you have your ESI level. So your ESI level is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's a 5-level triage system, right? And so it's emergency severity index level. So your ones are your patients who come in there, they have agonal breathing, they have 3D pulses, or they're not breathing, right? Those are your ones. Your twos are your patients who come in there that they need to be taken care of really, really quickly. Like you can't stop and not take care of them because they're imminent and they may pass away. So those are your patients who come in there with your acute myocardial infarctions. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a heart attack, or the patients who come in with CVA, cerebral vascular accidents. Those are your stroke patients, or your patients who come in as traumas. Those are your patients who, had an accident or had some blunt force trauma to their body, however it is, or gunshot wounds, whatever it is. So those patients, they have to be transferred. They have what's called a golden hour. So the trauma patients have to be transferred to a level 1 trauma center if they're serious enough within an hour. And that golden hour is there because it increases their chances of surviving and thriving. This is my shirt from my church, More Tabernacle. And so surviving and thriving, it gives them the ability to do that. Your myocardial infarction patients, your heart attack patients, you need to get that treatment to them within an hour. And then, of course, your CVA patients, depending on when their last known well time is, and what their last known well time is when a patient comes in. And this is I want everyone to hear this. I want you to hear what I'm saying, because many people don't know this. Your last known well time is the last time that you were known well. Okay, so for example, if I start to slur my speech, or I start to not be able to walk because one side of my body is I'm unable to walk, then you need to go to the emergency room and you need to get there quick. And the reason why you get there quick is because of the fact that what happens is they have 3 to 5 hours to treat you. And if you don't fall there within that time, then you're unable to be treated. So those are the 5 levels. I mean, that's level 2. Level 3 is where you have the patient that's on the fence. The patient is, I don't know whether this patient is going to be admitted. The patient may not be admitted. I'm not sure. The 4th level is the patient who's going to use a resource, but just one the resource. And they're not really serious patients, like patient who comes in who, may have I don't know, broken arm or broken finger or whatever, and they need an x-ray or they need sutures. They use one resource, and there's a list of resources that they use. And then, of course, there's level fives, right? The level fives come in there, and the fives are not going to use any resource. So those are the patients who come in who have earache, right? An earache, they come in, and all we have to do is look in their ear, look at the eardrum, see whether it's red, and then determine whether they, need medication or not. Those are the five levels. Well, a lot of times what happens is, and when you are in a high acuity emergency department, you have a 4-to-1 ratio of those patients. So imagine you have four patients that come in and you're trying to deliver care to those patients, and you aren't able to deliver the care in the timely manner that evidence-based practice says that they're going to survive, not just survive, but thrive, right? It is everyone's risk. It is all of ours. And see, it when I say that it is everyone's concern. Everyone needs to be concerned about this issue. Every single person who listens to this need to be concerned. And the reason why is because if we're not able to deliver the care based on evidence-based practice, that means your family member may not survive. Your family member may not survive and thrive. They may survive, but then they won't be thriving because they've not been delivered the care that they need to be delivered. And so the reason why it's such an issue is not just because of the fact that there is this safe this travel nurse cap pay. The reason why is because when we were screaming from the hilltops about safe patient staff ratios, there was no concern. There was no concern. Nothing ever passed. Nothing ever passed. When we were screaming from the rooftops about the fact that we're passing as as an advanced, and I'm not talking about we because I don't do practice, but however, the advanced practice nurses who are in healthcare, they are having these fees that are given to them from physicians because they don't have the will, they don't have the power to practice freely in their state. Now, there are some states who do, but this particular one does not. So they don't have the ability to practice. So who's getting the bill? They're not going to take on that bill. They have to have a sustainable model for their business. And in order for them to have a sustainable model for their business, what happens is the patient gets the bill. It's passed down to you. And so this is a concern for everyone. They have built and let's not that we're going to talk about as well. There's two more issues that we need to talk about. The way the African American nurses are treated in healthcare. It is not safe a lot of times for African American nurses in healthcare. It is just it is what it is, and it is hard sometimes. It is hard to go into a healthcare system. When I look at the leadership in healthcare, I want you to take a look at your leadership. I want you to take a look at your leadership, and I want you to ask yourself, how many African Americans are in leadership? How many? Not many at all. Okay? I want you to look at that. And you have patients who come in, and the patients are being hurt. They're hurting the nurses. They're hurting the nurses, right? They're whatever is going on with them, feel like it's okay to hurt the nurses. And then when the nurse goes to the whenever the nurses go to the administration, and what they ask is, what did you do? What do you mean what I do? I'm here trying to take care of the patient. I'm here trying to take care of the patient. And the patient then strikes at me and you ask me what I did? Really? Let's be very clear. There's so many things, there's so many issues within healthcare, and everyone needs to be concerned. Everyone needs to be concerned because nursing is the biggest force, the largest profession in healthcare, largest profession. And so be very, very clear about that. Be very clear that you need to be concerned as a patient, as a nurse, as a physician, as an administrator. All of us need to be concerned because when our family members go into the hospital, we need to ensure that they're taken care of. COVID was the straw that broke the camel's back. It's been going on for years. Been going on for years. And that's one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to go into business for myself. And it was because there's two reasons, okay? Everyone, I don't care who you are, you need a small business of your own. It's a capitalist society, it's where we live. It just benefits you so much to have a small business of your own. But not only that, it gives you the ability to leverage your taxable dollars. That's number two. Number three, it gives you you have to have someone who is teaching you how to do it. And a lot of people go back to school to get their MBA because they want to, be taught how to go into business for themselves. When the reality is that if you're teaching it at a certain school, then you probably can't run a business on your own unless you're already running a business. And if you are, then that's great. But if you're not, then you can't. And so a lot of times people need coaches. And so that's one of the reasons why I went into coaching nurses how to go into business for themselves, even coaching other coaches to go into their business for themselves. But that's the deal. That is the deal. We all need to be concerned about all of this. Every last bit of it. We need to be concerned. And so this is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, where our goal is to teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. If you want to connect with me, my website is vpnursing.com. Have a great day. Bye-bye.